Hello and welcome back to Moonstar, Sailor Moon Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alex, and today we are covering Wedding Day Blues. Before we jump into the episode, I am just going to drop a real quick Sailor Moon news bulletin for y'all in case anyone is interested. The Sailor Moon Cosmos movie was announced for this summer. It's going to be premiering in June 2023 in Japan, and there's not any talk yet about when we're going to get it over here, but current speculations are thinking just like everything else from the reboot, it's probably going to end up on Netflix. So, I just thought you guys might be interested to go and check out the trailer for that. Let's see where you can find that real quick. Oh, it's just on YouTube. So just check out the Sailor Moon Cosmos, the movie trailer there, and it's focusing on the Starlights. So this is, I guess, the Sailor Stars part of this reboot. In case any of you guys are into Sailor Moon Eternal and all of that, I just thought you might want to know. But there's not much else to put here at the beginning today. Chris and I had a really great talk. This is a long episode, so get into it, and I'll see you guys in the outro. Peace. So I took notes on this one, but before we start that, I actually started watching Sailor Stars, the new dub, because there was never an old dub, and I was bored. Have you seen any of it?
Yeah, I've seen the new dub.
What do you think of it so far? I've only seen a few episodes. Have you seen all of it?
I haven't seen all of it. I've seen, like, the more important episodes or just, like, highlights, but yeah.
What do you remember from...
I've seen a good... What I remember from the new dub?
Well, from Sailor Stars, I guess, and from the new dub, yeah.
I remember a good amount of it. Like the more dramatic scenes and like the more important moments, I guess, between like Seiya and Usagi, stuff like that.
Seiya is really dramatic. That was one of the things I picked up on early on.
Yeah.
I'm only about 5 episodes in, and I've seen Sailor Stars before. I've seen the Japanese one, but it's been a really long time. I'm watching it now on Hulu. Did you watch it there?
No, I just watched it on like one of those anime like one of those streaming websites. Yeah,
because on Hulu it looks really, really nice, but also there are some moments in Stars I noticed where when they're doing like more comedic moments, the faces, it almost seems like they edited it now, like recently, to be more like modern anime styles. When you watched it, did you notice anything odd like that or no?
No, because I think I watched, like the first time I watched Stars was like obviously way before it got redubbed, or it got a dub, and I'm not sure like who ripped it from, where it was ripped from when I saw the new dub. So yeah, I guess I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I'm curious if anyone listening is watching on Hulu and also has like maybe an old subbed version of Stars or something you can compare to. I might do it myself later, but I swear it looks like they went in and enhanced some things and then also changed some things, which if they changed it, I don't know if I love that. But also I know Stars is the season where we lose the best animator, right?
Yeah.
So it could just be a product of that, where it looks different, and that's maybe what I'm picking up on.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel for the English voice actors? Because I've seen more of it now. and I'm kind of getting used to some of it. I still have certain opinions, but how do you feel about the way they did the new dub, just generally?
I think for the most part it's pretty good. I don't I'm sure we talked about this before, but a lot of the inner scouts, or even like the outer scouts, I don't agree with the new voices completely for some of them, but I mean for the most part it's good, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same lines as you, where I think everyone is doing a fine job, but I just don't think the casting is perfect. The ones that really stick out to me are Amy, or Sailor Mercury. It's hard when you have such a specific sound as the original. Like, it was either do the original or people aren't really gonna like it for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a tough spot for her voice actor to be in. I thought every now and then the person who does Mars will kind of sound a little bit like Katie Griffin. And I like that.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to make her similar to that. But I think having Amy sound so normal, they blend, together. I think Jupiter is pretty good. I prefer the original Lita because her sound was so specific, But I do think the new one does pretty good job. I think Venus it's like more kooky to me, the new Venus. What vibe do you get from her?
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Venus's voice actress in the new one, Jeremy Lee, is like one of the most well-known people for modern anime dubs. She's like one of the queens.
Does she usually do bubbly characters?
Yeah. I mean,
that it seems like that's kind of her thing. It's not a bad thing, really. It's just I felt like the 90s version of Venus was a little more serious and a little more earnest. So it's just kind of like what you prefer, I guess. I have fun with her, though, in Stars. I think she's a fun, like, comedic moment. The girl who does Sailor Moon, I'm sorry, she's trying to sound like the Japanese voice actress, which I just don't think works well when you're translating it into English. Because for whatever reason, people here don't talk in such a high register, I don't know why.
Yeah.
It's just, and that's partially why when my other issue with it, I've noticed when you do a translation that's just like a direct literal translation, sometimes the dialogue sounds really stilted. Do you know what I mean? I don't know have you picked up on that at all with this new dub?
I mean, I guess I haven't really noticed that part of it, but because from like what I've seen, they've done like a pretty good job of not sounding awkward with stuff. So, but I guess I just have to see more of it.
I think it sticks out in Stars a little with the Sailor Starlights because there are a lot of these moments that are kind of like their canned intro, or we all know like Star Gentle Uterus, that attack. It's just the whole, okay, so I get why she named it that, because when she was naming these attacks in English, her English was probably limited, and she was looking for synonyms that go with creation, right? And she's thinking womb, you know what I'm saying? So like, I get the thought process, but when you translate it into English, it's so hard to take it seriously, and that's one of those things where in the old dub, they would have changed that to just be something that was a little bit less odd of a word choice. And there's certain dialogue with the stars when they're introducing themselves and stuff or whatever. And it's just like the stage on thing and all of that. It's just like you're just saying words that were translated. I don't know. But I think maybe with it, like you were saying with the actual dialogue parts, they probably do adjust it to make more sense, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm curious what other people think about that. What animes have you been watching recently? It doesn't have to be Sailor Moon.
Gosh, in terms of, like, new stuff, I don't think I've really been... I guess I was watching the new Bleach, just because I read, like, all the manga of the final arc. That's pretty much it, I guess. I haven't really been keeping up with anything else that's coming out. I've just been reading stuff.
I had a bunch of friends that loved Bleach growing up. When you say new one, is it like a whole new animation series, or is it a redub? What is it? No,
it's they're animating the final arc of the manga, and it's split up in... The first part just ended, and then it's split up in 6 parts, and the next one comes out in June.
Oh, that's exciting that they're doing that. I guess we're kind of getting new content with Sailor Moon 2, like Sailor Moon Eternal and everything, which I still haven't watched. Have you seen it?
No, I've just seen clips of it.
I need to get on that, but there's something... I'm like... I'll get there. I'm kind of saving it for when we do it here, actually. But, yeah, I don't know. I like the old stuff. So, I guess we can get into today's episode. This one is... I think it was episode 13 of the Deep Dub, and it was called Wedding Day Blues.
Everyone's all wound up in a wedding dress sewing contest today on Sailor Moon. But when Nephlite's Black Widow casts her evil web, we get wound up in a completely different way. Can the Sailor Scouts win the day? Stay put and find out.
Before I dig into my notes, what's your overall take on this one?
I think it's fine. Honestly, for the animator in charge of it being the worst one, like, that people... And, well, I guess I kind of think that too, but that most people think... I don't think it looks... I think his episodes in the earlier seasons don't look that bad. This one looks okay. Like, I think it was more noticeable as the seasons went on instead.
Yeah, this one blends in with some of season 1 pretty well. I think there were certain moments that stuck out to me that I was kind of like, what's up with that? And I mentioned it to you on Instagram. Nephlite. For some reason, and I put screenshots of it up already on the Facebook page, the Moonstar Facebook, but he just looks like a baby. Like,
yeah.
And it's because he gives the characters really wide cheeks. And then he does this thing with their mouth where there's like a slight curve on the corner of it that gives the impression of a more fuller face. And I noticed that right away. And it makes everyone look a lot younger. And I think that with that animation style combined with, at least if you watch the Deke version of this, there's a lot of really childish moments in this one. This episode is one that emphasizes these are middle school kids.
Yeah.
To me, anyway. And not in a bad way. It's just very youthful in the energy, I think, for the episode. What's one thing that stuck out to you about this before I jump in?
I don't know, like, nothing major. I mean, I can remember it vaguely from way back then. That's pretty much it.
Do you remember anything about the teacher?
Not really. I just know what she looks like.
We'll start there. So the side character for this one that we are introduced to and never see again is Miss Lambert.
Then you take your pattern and you draw a line like so to make sure the seam is in the right place. Now you can sew it together. Does anyone have any questions?
Can I have more chocolate fudge, please?
In the 90s dub. Do you know what her Japanese name was, by any chance? See if you can find that real quick while I read this. Okay. But she has navy blue hair that is tied up in a bun with these big circle glasses. And she's kind of got like a sleepy, tired disposition. And we find out that she's been spacey lately because she's getting married to her fiance, whose name is Herbert in this version. I love the name Herbert. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
Did you find the name?
The
Japanese.
Her name is Miss Akiyama.
Miss Akiyama.
Yeah.
So Miss Lambert. I mean, it's that's another one of those things where when I'm listening to the new dub, every now and then there'll be like a super Japanese name, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm so used to them Americanizing it that it catches me off guard still. I think I'll get used to that the more I watch it, though. Melvin is telling us, right, he's the one who, I guess he's kind of a gossip, which I think is hilarious for his type of character. And he's the one who tells us about Herbert. And he loves Herbert because Herbert is a computer salesman.
Oh, but this gossip is sizzling. My sources tell me that Miss Lambert's getting married. That's why she turned into such a space case.
Helen, darling, would you do me the honor of becoming my wife? Would you? Please? I'll be the happiest man in the world.
Oh, Herbert, of course I'll marry you.
And you want to know the best part? He's a computer salesman. Stupendous, huh?
Yuck, that sounds totally boring.
In the English one. I don't know. That's probably it, not like that in the Japanese, but... How do you feel about Melvin?
I don't know. Honestly, like one of the only times that I like him in the whole series is his pure heart crystal episode in S, because I like that episode a lot, and I guess it's sort of surprising to see him being courageous there, but besides that episode, I don't really care about his character.
That's fair. It depends on, I guess, if you enjoy derpy, nerdy, totally there for comic relief kind of side characters. That episode you're talking about is probably my favorite Melvin episode, though. He really does shine in that one. And I think when I was a kid, he used to bug me a little bit, and as an adult... Maybe it's because I teach a lot of kids like this, but I have a soft spot for the oversharing nerds that like just can't help but tell you all of the information you don't want to hear. Maybe I don't know. Like I love characters like that, and I love that he loved Herbert because he was a computer salesman. The teacher. Miss Lambert, she has a quote saying, "I'll never be able to afford my dream dress on a teacher's salary," which I feel obligated to say this. That is a quote taken from the show in the 1990s, which shows you that over the last how many decades, we're in 2023 now, so 2 decades, the pay situation for teachers has not improved at all. Just FYI, if anyone was wondering. So I have to throw that in there for my friends. Who also teach. Did you notice that? Do they talk about that in Japanese one?
I think it's something else. Or, well, actually, no. I think it's similar. Never mind.
Yeah, and I don't know. I thought in Japan they paid their teachers better, actually, but it might be a similar situation over there, too. If anyone knows, let us know. Comment somewhere. Oh, we get to see Miss Haruna. What's her name in Japan?
I don't think they changed it.
Oh, really? I doubt her first name is Patricia, though.
Right.
Which I thought was such a funny name. So Patricia is a good friend to Miss L. She's out there helping her when she's trying to pick out her wedding dress, because she's like, oh, I'll never be able to afford anything good, and she's like, you have to make sure you get an amazing dress, you're the sewing teacher, and she's being all supportive and cute, which is, it's a nice little moment. We get to see some of the adult characters in Serena's life and like how they are. What do you think of moments like that?
I think it's nice. I think it's something that doesn't, again, it's more of like an earlier season thing. I don't really remember. Yeah, that doesn't really happen very much in S or Super S. That's all. Yeah, all the original characters for that are like the episodic characters or whatever. Those are all just, ones that you don't really ever see again compared to earlier seasons.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we got this set up because it establishes the world that they're trying to protect. And I think if we didn't have this, like we don't in Crystal and some other things, it is a little bit like, well, I don't know. it helps to know that these are the reason, like, these people are the reason why she's so earnest. Does that make sense? It gives Serena a deeper character, I think, in fleshing out their world this way. What do you think of Miss Haruna as a character in general?
I don't really have a huge opinion, because, I mean, she wasn't prominent in the later seasons, so I really only, like, know her for the early stuff that I don't remember as well.
She was always, as a kid, I always saw her as kind of like a rival to, not a rival, but like a point of contention for Serena, because she was always getting in trouble, right, for stuff. And then as an adult, I'm kind of like, well, she's actually doing an amazing job as a teacher, dealing with this very, very difficult student who is lovable and awesome, but also, like, I get it, putting her in the hallway or whatever. So she's someone who my opinion has changed over time, definitely. I already said Nephiite looks a lot younger in this episode. Do you remember that specifically?
Yeah, well, it's just because of the animator thing, like you talked about.
What's his name for everybody again?
Masahiro Ando.
Masahiro Ando. This poor guy, I mean, he's never going to listen to this, but he tried. Like you were saying, I really don't think this one is that bad. I just think it's noticeably different. So there's a sewing contest.
This contest is going to make my wedding chapel a bundle.
Sew the winning wedding dress and win a trip to Hawaii, all expenses paid. Oh, that is so romantic. Hawaii's got to be the perfect place for honeymoons.
In the English one, you win a trip to Hawaii, because in the 90s, this is before you could just, like, go on an Instagram page that travels the world and look at the world. You know what I mean? Like, we had, like, zoo books and, like, that were, like, printed pictures of animals if you wanted to see animals. Like, it was not the same landscape.
Yeah.
And so a trip to Hawaii was like, oh my gosh, that's so, like, foreign, even though it's part of the United States, where, like, that was an accessible prize that kids could imagine and understand and get excited about. You know, at the time when this was made. Do you know what the prize was for the Japanese version? Could we find that?
I can check, yeah.
If it is Hawaii, I would be really shocked. But that would be kind of funny.
No, in the Japanese version, it's like a paid for, like, simulated wedding reception.
A simulated wedding reception?
Well, it's not like virtual. It's like a fake one. Like, a girl can just pretend like she's getting married or something.
Oh, because it's like in the English one, you had to actually be in a relationship and getting married to enter. In the Japanese one, that was their way of like, oh, anyone can enter. Because in the English one, Ray has to lie to be part of this. And I actually made a note that Ray seems to love contests, specifically cheating at them. Because she does it several times. I guess she might not cheat in the Japanese one, though. So yeah, that's an interesting difference. Serena has a daydream in this one about dancing with Tuxedo Mask and Andrew, and for no reason at all, in her daydream, she has a French accent.
Darling, I'm so happy and lucky too. I feel like a princess. Yeah, right. In your dreams, Serena. I've never even had a date.
Which I think was... I think the thought was, at the time, children, when they thought about fancy stuff, imagined France. Or something. And so, like, that's why in her fancy dress, when she's dancing with these two hot guys, she would have a French accent. That's why I think that choice was made. What do you think?
I think it's honestly more the fact that since all the original dub actors were Canadian, the voice actress for Serena was probably just, like, doing her impression of, like, a fancy or, like, rich French woman.
That's probably way more accurate.
Yeah.
I forgot. I forget that French. Like, in Canada, a lot of the signs are also in French, right? It's like French.
Yeah.
It's very French friendly there. Because of Quebec. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably why that happened. That makes more sense. Was this the episode you were mentioning last time? You said that Serena was at a dance. It wasn't this, was it?
No, it was something. No, that was something later. We were talking about other episodes that the animator of the last episode did character designs for.
That's right. Okay. Oh. What do you think of Rey's character? We get to see kind of a goofy side of her in this episode. Do you feel like she stays that way, or does she change?
Yeah. In some aspects, she stays silly. You see a lot of that. You see a lot of that too. Well, not a lot, but a good amount of it in her Super S episode, like where she gets the flame sniper attack.
That's what I was thinking of, was Super S, yeah.
Yeah.
In Stars, I think the whole vibe is a little more serious all throughout.
Yeah.
So probably not there, but definitely in Super S, she's still kind of funny. The one I always think of besides that is the episode when everybody gets sick. And,
oh yeah.
And Mina makes them soup, and Rey's like breathing fire. I love that one.
Yeah.
So Herbert apparently has always dreamed of going to Hawaii, which I love that what they did with the character of this man. They made him adorable. Rey meets Serena's mom for the first time, and I think Miss Haruna for the first time in this episode. And when she's meeting Serena's mom, she's like sucking up to her and being all friendly because she's thinking, I'm going to ask her to help me sew a dress.
Delicious! You should enter this cake in a contest. It's really the best shortcake I've ever had.
Do you mean that?
Uh-huh.
So get to the point, will you, Rey?
Some contests have great prizes. You can win cars and jewelry and money, and sometimes you can even win trips to Hawaii.
What?
Part of the reason I came here today is because there's this really great contest I want to enter, but I need help. I need to sew a wedding dress. Can you help me?
Sorry, but I don't sew.
Huh? I don't get it. What's so funny? Thanks a lot. You let me embarrass myself when you know your mom doesn't sew. Great friend you are.
I forgot. Besides, it serves you right for trying to sneak behind my back about the wedding dress contest, brat.
Because she would just assumed, oh, Serena has a mom, she can help her sew. We don't ever see Rey's parents in the anime. Do you know anything about her family?
No, not without looking it up. I don't think I ever remembered specifically reading about it.
I know in the manga, there's something to do with, like, her dad is a politician, which is why he's never there, and why she's so serious, because her whole thing is, like, she's never met a good man, and she hates men, and she believes in being stoic, and she's kind of like a straight man character. Like, not like heterosexual, but like comedy-wise, she's like, Serena is goofy next to this character who's very, like, still.
Yeah.
She's not at all like that in the anime, which some people hate that. I like that she can be so funny, because then when she does have her really sweet and serious moments, I think they stand out a little more. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree. You know, like the episode, again, it's like later season, but like Yuichiro's or Chad's Pure Heart Crystal episode, that's one of my favorite episodes too, and I like how Rey is portrayed in that. That's
when he is at the train, right? He's about to leave.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. That always gets me emotional, because they do a good. There's a really good a good song in that one that I think it's in Japanese. I don't think they translated it.
Yeah.
I wrote a little bit. We get more of Rey and Serena's rivalry here. This is still early in the show, so it's kind of still brewing everything up. And it's really annoying Luna, because she wants them to work better together as a team. I think that part of it fades. I think Luna accepts them as kind of being the way they are with each other, but also that she understands that they still are going to work together and whatever, right?
Right, yeah.
So that theme kind of goes away. How do you feel about Luna in season 1?
I think she does. She's more of a, she does a good job of keeping the girls in line.
She's a really good guide. I was drawing parallels this week in my mind, and she reminds me a lot of Botan from Yu Yu Hakusho. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, that's a good show. I like that series.
Oh, me too. It's so good. That was one that was also on around the same time as Sailor Moon when I was growing up. It was like on Adult Swim on Toonami at night, so that's where I would see it. But Botan, a little bit of like Kiro from Card Captors, but she's a really good like mentor figure. And do we know her age?
Who, Luna?
Yeah. I think she's like an ageless character, right?
Well, because I guess she's technically immortal, right?
Yeah, because she gets reborn, all like, same with all of them.
Yeah, so I don't think it doesn't say anything like on the wiki. I
think her age is probably irrelevant.
Yeah.
We just know that she has a daughter, Diana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so Serena has a bunny plushie when talking to Amy. And that stood out to me because I was like, oh, this is so cute. And then I was looking at the Wiki Moon, or the Sailor Moon dub fandom about this episode. And where is it? I found this. It says, in the scene with Serena at Amy's house, she's holding a bunny that resembles Patty from the 1986 anime series of Mapletown. Both series were produced by Toei Animation and directed by Junichi Sato.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard of Mapletown?
Yeah, I know what that is.
I have never heard of it. Just for whoever is listening, can you tell us anything about it?
It's just a, I think, it was released in the US too. It was like one of those, because I think I remember when I was really young in school, it would be like one of the things that teachers would put on for like when I was super, super little. It's just a cute, it's kind of made to look like a American cartoon. It's just a cute series. It's kind of like Animal Crossing. It's like a bunch of little animals.
It's probably like
people.
Busy Town, if people want to draw an American cartoon parallel, where it's just like showing you how to function in a society, basically, for children. Yeah, that's Busy Town, but Japanese version. I might put a little clip or two from that in here. I just thought that bunny stood out to me right away. I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then I love that it was actually a reference to something else that they had made. All right, so... Oh, also, Nephlite has no age. He goes from looking like a baby in this episode to being like a full 1.5 feet taller than an adult woman teacher. So I thought that was interesting. He's huge. Is there a height listed for him on there? Can you see?
It says 5'8" or 5'9".
That's nonsense. He's at least like 6'3" or something.
Yeah.
If he was 5'8", he would be close to the same height as the teacher. I mean, he's like a fake animated person or whatever, but it still matters to me. So that's interesting. I think that's where we can see, though, some of the issues with this animator in general is inconsistencies with that, where it's like, it's hard to place characters' ages with him. There's a great quote from Serena when she's talking to Molly, and Molly's telling her that she's failing sewing class, so like, why are you entering this contest? And she says,
are you totally nuts, Serena? You're failing sewing!
I am not, Moll. I'm just taking my time to learn things, you know?
Yeah, but making a wedding dress has got to be one of the hardest things you can do. Probably the only person who could help is Miss Lambert, and she's gaga over her own wedding.
That's how come I'm asking
I'm just taking my time to learn things, that's all. And that was such a sweet moment to me, because I can relate to that, where I can learn whatever, but there are certain things where, like, if it's taught a certain way or presented a certain way, my brain just doesn't grab onto it for whatever reason. And I learned ways to work around that, and it's fine. But there are certain times where you kind of feel stupid when your mind works differently. Can you relate to that quote in any way?
Yeah, I can, like, pretty much the same thing that you said for certain things.
Yeah, and I think it's sweet that we have that kind of representation in a character like that, because at least back then, I don't remember there being a lot of characters who were presented in an extremely positive way that were not also like smart, you know what I mean, and very like together and with it. And Serena is unique in the sense that she's a complete ditz. She's totally emotional, but at the same time, it's like because her heart is so kind and she's so determined, that's what makes her such a great superhero. And I think that's just a unique aspect of the show and her in general that I really love. And I think a lot of people do. What is something that you connect to in the show just generally that you feel might be kind of unique for your experience?
That's a good question.
Could be anything.
No, yeah, I know. I don't know like how unique it is, but I guess thinking back, like in Super S, thinking back on the outfits that Fisheye wore in like human disguise, especially in the fashion episode specifically. That was more, I guess that kind of inspired me later on to dress more, you know, feminine if I wanted to, or like wear things that weren't tied by a gender.
That is a significant thing, I think. And
yeah,
I think this show probably did that for a lot of people because especially before 2000 and like, I don't know, 10 or whatever, this was probably the only representation a lot of young people saw when it came to alternative forms of gender expression, especially if they were able to get their hands on Sailor Stars, you know?
Right.
Because that opened up a conversation, at least in my head, of, wait a second, how is that even possible? Is that a thing? Like, that's a thing you can do? What? You can transition? What are you talking about? And until I saw that, I never even would have... Like, I actually remember as a young kid having the, you know, how you have internal dialogue about things, and I never felt like 100% like a man. And I would argue with myself because there would be a voice that's like, well, you can be whatever you want, you can dress however you want, and like, it doesn't matter what other people think. Yeah. And I remember looking around my world and being like, that is not a thing. We're like, you're crazy, you know, to this voice. And had I not seen things like this, I think I never would have brought my bright pink bathrobe to college with me. You know what I mean? Like, just little things like that. So no, I think that's definitely it. No, it is not unique to you, but in the moment when you're living that, it feels unique to you. And that still is significant. Because it's the same thing, like, I'm sure a lot of gay people growing up saw Uranus and Neptune and were like, oh, you know, and they had this moment. Yeah, they're not the only one, but in their life, in that moment, in that isolated incident, it probably felt like it.
Yeah, right.
And that's one of the reasons, many reasons why I love this show. Anyway, we get to see evil Helen, who is Miss Lambert. I love that her name is Helen. Patricia and Helen are great names for these teachers. And we see her being mean to Herbert, which made me sad. Do you remember what happens?
Tell me what I've done wrong. Why won't you answer my calls? Helen, can you hear me in there? It's me, Herbert. Ow! Helen, is that you? You look so different. But I like it. Here, these are for you.
I don't want your silly flowers. Go away. I don't want to marry you anymore, okay? You're nothing but a wimpy, balding, boring little weakling. So get lost, okay? It's over, Herbert. Now go away and stay away. I've got too many things to do.
Helen, wait!
Poor guy, she really let him have it.
No kidding. I've never seen her get that mad before.
No.
No. So Herbert is this like short little dude who is about half her height, and he shows up to her house with flowers. and he's just like there to take her on a date or whatever, and she opens the door and she's like, I don't want to marry you anymore. And she has her hair down. She's very 80s, like rock star style. She has dark lipstick. It's like a, quote, sexy look. And she like knocks the flowers out of his hand. And he's just there all, heartbroken and distraught. It was a pretty big transformation from her character, which is the classic thing with Nephlite. Do you remember what item he cursed?
Yeah, it was like some kind of crest.
No, it was the fabric that she was going to use to make the wedding dress for the contest.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading on a wiki that that's what technically they called it, but I don't know why.
They called it looks like he put a crest on it or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a crest fabric or something, and in the English one they just left out that word. So after we see that whole thing go down, we see Ray getting chased by Grandpa because she tried to steal his sheets to make a dress for the contest. And this is also, I think, the first time we hear Cherry Hill Temple. They might have said it before, but that's the English name for the Hikawa Shrine. Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
What do you think of the Hikawa Shrine as a location?
I like it. I like the... it's more towards where... I guess it's more towards in the later seasons, but the backgrounds that are always used for it are just like whenever the characters are there always look so great.
Oh yeah, and I love their like little cultural details that they included. I never would have known about how they would write, I think it's like a wish or something on these pieces of paper, and then they tie them to like, isn't it the tree branches, I think?
Yep.
I love that we get to see stuff like that there. There's the little thing that Ray shakes that makes noise. That's like a rope. It's like a red and white rope. I don't know what that is. But yeah, I love this location. It's one of my favorites in the series. Do you remember Serena sneaking around her house, in her parents' bedroom, and she has like, I don't know what it is. It looks like a handkerchief tied on her head, like she's trying to be discreet.
Yeah.
Do you remember what she was doing?
Yeah, it was like taking her mom's curtains.
Yeah, and her mom catches her, and it feels very much like, this part specifically felt very juvenile, very middle school. Getting in trouble with your parent, trying to do some goofy task that you have no business doing at all. So we see Miss Lambert make her dress that she's working on, this like perfect dream dress, and she's like spinning around with it and laughing, and then just goes, I'm so tired, and falls down. And I just thought that was funny. Because it just happened kind of out of nowhere.
He's perfect! I'm so tired.
Do you remember what Usagi says, or Serena says, when she uses the Luna pen by any chance?
Oh, it's because she doesn't have a dress to get into the contest. Yeah.
Do you remember what she tries to turn into, or whatever her line was?
No.
That's a Luna pen, remember?
Oh yeah. Disguise power! Turn me into a totally gorgeous bride like in the magazines! Oh, do I look hot or what? Oh wow, what a dress! I look so totally cool! Jealous, Ray?
Serena! Remember, we're here on sailor business, nothing else.
Not going in to win.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, I like even though it didn't last very long, like probably the most memorable one is I think it's just a couple episodes later than this, or when she it's earlier in season 1 where she does the rock star look.
That is a good one. Yeah,
yeah.
I love that one. And then we get like a cameo of Luna Pen in S when on Serena's birthday episode because she can't transform, and they are like trying to throw off the enemy. So Venus uses it to turn into a fake Sailor Moon. I think everyone loves that moment. That's a fun one too. I love the Luna Pen, and it's the transformation sequence with it is so simple, but it's so well done. There's something about it that just always hits well. I wish it was used more. Do you remember the abilities that evil Miss L gains from being cursed before she turns into a monster?
It's kind of like a spider type thing.
Well, yes, but before that happens, when they're at the contest, she apparently has the ability to make anybody fall in love with her by looking at them. And so she does that to the host of the contest, and then she steals the audience and all the contestants' energy by doing that. She touches something on her ear. I'm guessing that's like to collect it or whatever. Luna keeps Serena from falling asleep, and then we get to see the Yoma, or the monster, for this episode, which is called Black Widow in the English version. Can you find the Japanese name for it?
It's just called Widow in Japanese.
Oh, okay. It's very similar. Did you connect why they picked this for this episode?
I don't really know, I guess. I mean, I guess like the monster's outfit is fitting for what the context of the scene is.
So it took me a second, and then I got it. Spiders are nature's weavers, and they use silk. They make silk.
Oh, duh.
Right?
Yeah.
It took me a second, too. I was like, why a spider? And then I thought about it, and I was like, oh, okay. I got it. I thought that was fine. So once they made that connection, I was like, yeah, okay. What do you think of this monster's design?
I think for being an episode done by Ando, that it looks good. I mean, I like the outfit, and it's not scary or anything, obviously, but it looks fine.
It's definitely not spooky. It is something that I could see like a really successful Halloween costume, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, it's not a terrible design for it being known by a bad designer here. And I thought the way that it interacted was animated nicely. I liked the spider silk attacks that it used. We got to see the tiara actually cut through it. We got to see fire burn through it, so it wasn't just like, you know, a blast and a or whatever. I thought something that I don't think happened. So this episode does feel discombobulated during the fight, though, because Amy and Ray come down in like this weird balloon thing, not transformed, and then they start doing their entrance lines. Do you remember that?
Careful, little fly.
Who are you calling a fly?
That's Black Widow to you! And who are you?
We are the Sailor Scouts sworn to defend justice and right wrongs and triumph over trash like you.
Hey! We're not supposed to say that stuff yet. You! In just a second, we're gonna mush you into moon dust. Get it?
No, I don't think that would have happened in the Japanese. Maybe that was an editing thing in English.
It might have been, because they even address it. Like, Serena is like, you're saying that stuff early. And then we go into like the group transformation, and it's so hackily put together.
Moon, prism, power!
At least in the English version, where it's like we see the Mars and Mercury power pens happen in the middle of Serena's Sailor Moon transformation, and then they like splice in the Mars and Mercury transformations later, but that's where they say their lines, so it like doesn't happen at the right time. It's so bizarre and strange. then even the battle feels weirdly cut together. Like, there's odd pacing with it. And I was thinking about why that was. I don't know if in the Japanese one it feels exactly the same, but I think there's a lot of character building in this one and a lot of time spent on the side characters. And so when it came to the battle, I think that it was just a timing thing. I don't think they had a lot of time left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the battle at all?
Yeah, it was, it was a good team effort thing.
It is. It was quick, but it was a nice little, I don't know. I would say it's an average one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
After the battle, Mrs. Lambert ends up winning the contest, I think. And we get to see her getting married to Herbert, which is really, really sweet. And she throws the bouquet at the end. Do you know the whole lore behind catching the bouquet?
Yeah.
Okay, just explain it in case someone doesn't know.
Well, it's technically, I guess, like the short thing is, it's like a good luck thing, essentially.
Yeah, the idea is whoever catches it is going to get married next. It's like a good luck and love thing. And so, of course, we see Miss Haruna, Serena, and Ray fighting over it for a little bit, and then it ends up bouncing over to Amy, and she catches it, and everyone's like, Amy, because she's a nerd. I'm just like, okay, poor Amy. And that was the end of the episode. What do you think about something I've noticed with Amy's character? She's sort of like subtly the most woke. Meaning, there are a lot of instances, like in Sailor Stars, I just watched the episode where a girl approaches Serena with a love letter. And it's actually for one of the Starlights, but Serena assumes it's for her. And then everyone's like, oh my god, you thought that was for you? And then Amy's just like, why would that be bad? It would have been a sweet gesture. Not that I'm scared of getting love letters. And then she's like references Amy's First Love, the special. But yeah, there's these little moments of her just being like pro-lesbian and stuff like that. Do you pick up on any of that from any other characters?
Well, there is an episode in Stars too where it's just like a one-off scene where a girl wants to give a love letter to Usagi, and then Usagi is like respectfully tells her that, oh, like I'm not gay, but like thanks. Yeah.
That's what I was just referencing. I think in the manga it's a lot more the theme of we don't need guys because we have each other. Like there's some classic moments where you see Ray and Mina together and they're like, we don't need boys or whatever. I think there's a little bit more of that than in the manga than in the anime. Okay. The last thing is the Sailor Says.
Yeah, Nephlite's a hot-looking guy. But he is bad to the bone. Ooh. So Miss Lambert's fiancé isn't the coolest-looking guy on the block, but he loves her and he makes her happy. You gotta look deeper than looks. See what's inside the person. That's what counts.
Right. I always look for what's inside, and you should too.
The whole thing is about basically, they say Nephlite is hot, but he's bad. Herbert is derpy, but he's kind. Look inside. Like, that's basically the theme of it. They don't really say that. But that was kind of the idea of it. I thought it was funny that it's a little on the nose way of putting it, but for kids, I think that's fine. And I think it's a good message for children. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I agree. Even though it's not something that kids or teenagers realize until they're like at least later in high school, that like nicer people are always usually the way to go with like romance. But
yeah,
it's nice that it's in there.
And you can't judge someone's intention based on how they look, which is something that's tough to learn for some people. So I definitely think that's a good message. Is there anything else about this episode you want to say?
No, I don't think so.
Let me see if there's anything cool here. Just that, Ray meets Serena and Haruna's mom. I think we talked about that. I like this episode. What if you had to rate it from 1 to 10? What would you give it?
I guess maybe like 6.
Yeah, I think I would give this one. I would say a 7, just because I like that we get more of the side characters in this, and it's. I think we got to see a lot of personality from the girls too. So yeah. I definitely love when we get a chance for that. So that kind of nudges it up for me a little bit. We haven't like rated all the other ones, but we're gonna start rating them more often. But I'm curious to see if this guy will get other high ratings, because maybe not. What was the last one we watched by him?
It was I think it would have been the circus, like the where the monster is the doll.
Nightmare in Dreamland. I actually like that episode a lot too.
Yeah.
So, if I had to rate that one, I would probably give it a 6 though, because I don't know. I think there are some pacing issues with that one, but it's still a good one. All right, that's it for Wedding Day Blues. It's the Japanese title.
Oh, it's A Girl's Dream. Usagi becomes a bride.
I have to make sure we're not missing cut episodes too. I wonder what the next one of those is. So we just did this one here, Wedding Day Blues. Next week we're doing Shutterbugged, which I remember renting a lot. The tape that had this one from Blockbuster for some reason. Yep. But I remember it not being there a lot too when I wanted it. Like, it was the one that I think got rented out all the time, at least at my store. And then it looks like the next... So episode 20 of the original Japanese, it's called The Summer, the Beach, Youth, and Ghosts. That's the next one that was cut from the deep dub. That's a few weeks away. I'll find a place for us to watch that one, though. I love that episode. All right, that's it for today. What do you have coming up? I saw you just dropped an interview with somebody. Who was that?
David Vincent. He's more of a bigger name, I guess. He's most known for Bleach and Fate, like the Fate Stay Night series.
What was something from that you thought was kind of interesting? If you remember. I know you do a lot of them.
No, like I was just like, it was pretty general, I guess. I mean, it was just nice because that was, even though he's been around for a long time, that was the first interview he had done that wasn't at a con, and it was like the first interview that he had done that was longer length and depth. Yeah, he was really nice. It was another like personal wish list one for me, just in terms of, liking the characters that he plays.
Nice. That's definitely exciting. I didn't get to watch it or anything, but I clicked on it and I saw just the little beginning of it, and he seemed like he had a really good energy. Like, he seemed like a warm kind of guy. So, say his name one more time.
David Vincent.
David Vincent. People can go check that out on your YouTube channel. And yeah, that's it for today. All right. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye. That's it for today's episode of Moonstar, a Sailor Moon podcast. How would you rate Wedding Day Blues out of 1 to 10? Comment wherever you're listening, especially if it's in a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. For more Moonstar content, follow the Moonstar, a Sailor Moon podcast Facebook and Instagram pages. For more of Chris, you can follow him at ChrisMayek on YouTube and Instagram. For more of Alex, you can find me at Alex Summers SFE on TikTok, as well as the Sunshine Farm Entertainment YouTube and Instagram pages. Moonstar, a Sailor Moon podcast, is created for informational and entertainment purposes only. All audio clips and sound effects used in the creation of this show belong expressly to the license and copyright holders. Until next time, peace!
You're mine now, Sailor Moon. No one has ever escaped my web.
slimy all over.